The cameras flashed. The crowd froze. And just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Yeah, a really tragic one this time.
It is. Imagine a man who managed to define two completely different generations of pop culture. For one generation, he was the absolute king of the nerds. You know, the guy who made the laugh and the glasses iconic in the 80s.
Right.
And then for another generation, 20 years later, he was the ultimate Disney dad. The warm, steady hand on the shoulder of a teenage girl navigating middle school. He wore this mask of comedy and warmth that, well, completely fooled the world.
It really did, because behind that mask was a darkness that had been brewing for nearly 2 decades.
Yeah.
We are talking about a man described by his own family as a beacon of light, but he was concealing a private darkness that very few people saw coming.
And now that light has gone out. Robert Carradine, a sign of one of Hollywood's most famous dynasties, is gone at age 71.
It is such a heavy loss.
It really is. Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame. Welcome to StarScope Report.
Glad you are here with us for this deep dive. Today, we are focusing on the tragic and honestly shocking death of Robert Carradine.
Right.
We are looking at the hidden battle he fought and the sort of curse that seems to follow the famous Carradine acting dynasty.
Exactly. Our mission today isn't just to report the headline. I mean, everybody knows the headline by now.
Yeah.
But we have a stack of sources, reports from Deadline and TMZ archives from The Guardian, and some really harrowing divorce filings from 2018.
Plus the statements released by the family.
Yeah, so we want to take all of that and understand the human story here. Let's start with the breaking news. The core fact is that Robert Carradine passed away on Monday, February 23rd, 2026. He was 71 years old.
And the source attribution on this is solid. Both Deadline and TMZ confirmed the death almost immediately.
But what struck me, and I think struck a lot of people, was the cause. Usually when a major celebrity dies, there is a lot of mystery. PR teams step in and you get vague phrases.
Oh, totally. You hear passed away peacefully or surrounded by loved ones.
Right. It is a Hollywood protection mechanism. But unlike those cases where everything is shrouded in mystery, the Carradine family was immediately transparent. They confirmed he died by suicide.
That transparency is so rare. And reading the family statement, it reveals a nearly 2-decade battle with bipolar disorder.
Which is a massive revelation.
It completely changes how you look at his later career.
Let me read this key quote from the family statement because it really highlights the contrast between his private and public life. They said, in a world that can feel so dark, Bobby was always a beacon of light to everyone around him.
A beacon of light.
Yeah.
It really hits hard, especially when you think about the video title that sparked today's deep dive. He hid this from everyone.
He really did hide it. And the shock factor for the public is huge.
Right, because he was known for being funny. He was pragmatic. Even his TV son, Jake Thomas, called him chill.
When you project that much stability and chill energy, no one expects you to be in a severe mental health crisis.
Exactly. It makes the internal struggle so surprising to fans. But his brother, Keith Carradine, who is an acting legend himself, released a very powerful statement.
Yeah, he did.
Heath said, "We want people to know it, and there's no shame in it. It is an illness that got the best of him."
That specific phrasing, that it got the best of him, it really reframes suicide, not as a choice, but as the terminal outcome of a long, exhausting illness.
It frames it as a battle he fought valiantly, but eventually the illness won out.
But you know, this tragedy didn't just happen out of nowhere. It didn't happen in a vacuum.
No, it definitely didn't.
Coming up, we'll uncover the family tragedy that Robert claimed actually triggered his downward spiral.
And the terrifying car crash, that was a huge warning sign no one understood at the time.
So to really understand this, we have to look at the Carradine dynasty.
Yeah.
For those who might not know the history, this family is Hollywood royalty.
They really are. Robert was the son of John Carradine, who is an absolute legend. He was in The Grapes of Wrath and just hundreds of films.
And Robert was the brother to Keith Carradine and David Carradine. That is a lot of pressure packed into one family name.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think back to the 1980 film The Long Riders.
Such a great movie.
It is. The Carradine brothers actually played the outlaws, the younger brothers, and they acted alongside other real-life brothers, the Keaches, the Quaids, the Guests.
It was a literal brotherhood on screen.
Exactly. They were this incredibly talented, rugged collective, so when one of them falls, the impact on the family is catastrophic.
Which brings us to 2009. The sources point to this as the major trigger event, the death of his half-brother, David Carradine.
Right. David was the star of Kill Bill and Kung Fu. He was the global superstar of the family.
And he was found dead in a Bangkok hotel room. The factual details there were incredibly sensationalized by the tabloids. It was ruled accidental autoerotic asphyxiation.
I remember the media circus around that. It was relentless.
It's everywhere. But what the cameras didn't catch was the private devastation for Robert.
According to a really insightful report from the Guardian End, Robert admitted that his own mental illness was basically triggered by David's death.
That was the catalyst. It led to his bipolar diagnosis.
Grief is a powerful thing. Losing a brother in such a chaotic public way, it just shattered the guardrails he had up.
And once those guardrails were gone, we started seeing warning signs, serious ones, which leads us to the 2015 incident.
This is the part of the deep dive that genuinely gave me chills.
Yeah, it is harrowing. In 2015, Robert was involved in a massive car crash in Colorado. He drove into a semi-truck with his then-wife, Edie Manny, in the passenger seat.
At the time, it was just reported as a scary accident, careless driving on a highway.
But then came the 2018 divorce. And it was a nasty, incredibly bitter divorce. During those proceedings, the truth about that crash came out.
It was revealed that Robert admitted to being in a psychotic state during the crash.
And his ex-wife, Edie, actually claimed in the court documents that he deliberately tried to kill them both.
Just sit with that for a second. The contrast is staggering.
It really is.
You have this lovable TV dad, this guy we all grew up watching, and he is in such a dark place that he steers a car into a semi-truck to end the pain.
It completely shatters the public image we had of him. It shows how dangerous this struggle had become years before his death.
If you're shocked by the dark side of this Hollywood dynasty, make sure you're subscribed. We dig up the stories the tabloids miss.
Hit that button so you don't miss what's coming next.
Because despite all of this darkness, his on-screen legacy is actually filled with so much joy.
It is. And we have to highlight his career because he hit two massive cultural touchstones that were polar opposites.
Let's start with Revenge of the Nerds.
Yes, he played Lewis Skolnick.
The cultural impact of that character is wild. The laugh, the glasses. He basically defined the hero nerd trope.
But here is a fun fact from the research. To prepare for the role, Robert went undercover at the University of Arizona during Rush Week.
Wait, he actually rushed a fraternity?
Yes. He didn't tell anyone he was an actor. He just showed up as the character. And guess what? No fraternity picked him.
That is amazing. And brutal.
Completely rejected, which proved he was exactly right for the role.
He took that feeling of being an outsider and made it iconic. And then fast forward to the 2000s and he becomes Sam McGuire on Lizzie McGuire.
A totally different vibe.
Completely. He wasn't the goofy, incompetent dad trope. He was kind and steady.
He was actually set to reprise that role in the 2020 Disney Plus revival. They even filmed episodes before it was scrapped.
Having that rug pulled out from under him had to be a huge blow. Professional instability is so hard when you are fighting a mental illness.
And you can tell from the tributes pouring in that he was truly loved by his co-stars. Hilary Duff posted on Instagram, and it was so heartfelt.
What did her tribute say?
She wrote, "This one hurts. There was so much warmth in the McGuire family. I'm deeply sad to learn Bobby was suffering."
And Jake Thomas, who played Matt McGuire, called him a father figure. He said Robert was funny, pragmatic, sometimes cranky, always a little eccentric.
That sounds like a real person.
Yeah.
Not just a PR statement.
It really does.
We should also briefly mention he had incredible range beyond those two roles. He debuted with John Wayne in the Cowboys back in 1972.
And he worked with Martin Scorsese in Mean Streets.
We've talked about the tragedy and the fame, but what did Robert leave behind for us to really think about?
That is the most important part of this story.
Stay tuned for the final thought on why the family chose now to break their silence.
Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next. We keep the stars shining even when the news is tough.
So as we wrap up, we are looking at a truly complex figure.
A man who played the everyman hero as Lewis and the stable father as Sam, all while fighting this massive internal war.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you today. The family's decision to be brutally honest about the suicide and his bipolar disorder.
It breaks a major Hollywood taboo.
It does. Usually publicists hide this to protect the legacy. By putting it out there, it raises a really tough question.
How many other beacons of light in the entertainment industry are burning out in private?
Exactly. How many people feel they have to hide their diagnosis to keep working or stay insured?
It highlights a massive flaw in how we support artists.
It really does. Now, before we end today, we want to say that if you or someone you know is struggling, you do not have to fight it alone.
Please reach out for help. You can call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
It is so important to make that call. You've been listening to StarScope Report, where we uncover the stories shaping Hollywood music and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive.
And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.